Hello, traders. Morning video. Hope you're doing well. I'm putting some money away every day, it seems like. All-time highs on the closing high on the VIX. I personally just never dreamt that the fear and everything going on in this sell-off would eclipse the 2007 fear. I just would have never dreamt it. I actually started getting the VX puts appear right before Trump's speech, and wouldn't you know it, I went way underwater there right after his speech yesterday afternoon, and we ended up closing at all-time highs on the VIX. And so far this morning, it looks like my VXX contracts are doing better than yesterday. But have we finally hit a capitulation sell-off? I don't know. So we'll go through my charts real quick here, see some of the things I'm looking at here on these markets. Looks like so far this morning we're going back down to the lows of the session, maybe marking even further lows today. We'll see what happens in the session here. So basically, as you can see here, so Monday, that's 920. Okay, we had an opening print real low on Monday. So basically, we got a closing print on the ES futures near the day lows and that's the overnight session lows as well. We clipped it twice on the volume profile. The volume profile is really built out pretty evenly here, so that means that the pattern is probably building out for lower prices going forward in today's session. Okay, as far as the Qs go, they are showing more relative weakness. The white line here is where we're going to cross back into a bullish trend, and we're not even getting close to that yet. And I think there's more downside pressure to go in the in Apple for one. We have a multiple distribution profile in the overnight session. And value as of yesterday built that up here, and we're trading below value, suggesting the auction to the downside is not over going into today's session, suggesting we're probably going to be marking back down to near the lows of the Qs today. So something to keep in mind. We were showing a lot of upside action in the markets, but now it looks like it's all coming off. Okay, that's not what I wanted. Where's the Russell at? 1 second here. Russell, there it is. Okay, what I want to mention about the Russell, we had that end of day capitulation sell-off on the Russell. Basically, we've popped up right here. You see how it just stopped? We are limit up on the Russell this morning. That is hard to believe, I know, but we are limit up. And it's hit a ceiling here, and it can't go any higher. So we'll see what happens on the open here, but we do have significant looks like a capitulation sell-off in the Russell, which could drive the markets higher. If we could, it's the one trend that looks like most probable for a potential short squeeze. Yeah, but we're still a long ways from there. So still, I would much rather be on that line to open the day than way down here trying to push into that line. So if we were to have a short squeeze, I think it's more likely tomorrow, but we'll see what happens going forward here in today's session. So far this morning, volumes are increasing a little bit. AMD still one of the volume leaders. It's always typically up in the top 2 or 3. I want to point out Micron is reporting tomorrow night. Semiconductors and any type of short squeeze, semiconductors could actually outperform to the upside in any type of short squeeze scenario going forward. Apple, to me, has a gap below that is trying to fill. We still have a bid under Apple this morning, so we'll just keep in mind on that going forward here. I do think the Qs look like they're trying to mark even lower prices this morning. So if that's the case, Apple does seem to go down further, in my opinion. We do have a slight bid in Microsoft. I think Microsoft in a digestive area, and it does seem to be holding out relatively well versus a lot of the other sectors and indices. Okay, and we do have, man, they are just taking Tesla down. Volkswagen is suspending production for the next several weeks. So I don't know if that has anything to do with that, but there must be some news out on Tesla this morning. So Tesla is really starting to come in here. JD got a really nice upgrade this morning. I do think the China internet stocks are probably going to outperform all the markets. So it does have. It looks like it is coming in just a little bit here, but JD does have some interest going forward here. Facebook, I had it closing on some support um, last night. It does have a slight little bid here on Facebook. It is a broken chart pattern, in my opinion, but something to keep on watch. And Amazon, of all the stocks, if I were to bet on anything helping lead us out of this market, out of this thing, Amazon would be the one stock that I would think that'd be the case. And mainly, they're actually hiring people to deliver stuff to people's houses and better processing. So obviously, there must be some serious demand behind by hiring 100,000 people. There must be a lot of demand for their services at the current what's going on with the coronavirus and everything. So I think Amazon is at some point a longer term buy at these price levels if the markets decide to turn here in relatively short order. Okay. So some of the things I'm looking at here, we'll look at our S&Ps real quick, or our spiders. Scan. 24-hour trading. There we go. Okay. And look at this. Over 3 million shares on SPY already. Yesterday was an all-time record high on SPY on the volume. And we're still, man, they are just all over this thing. Buyers and sellers on the S&Ps. And like I said, 60% of the volume pretty well resides in the S&Ps, and we're still not even getting close. There's a major discrepancy here. There's just not any interest in tech to speak of versus the S&Ps. So just keep that in mind going forward in your trading today. Some of the things you're watching, they just don't seem to be interested in the tech so far this morning at much at all. So keep that in mind on your trading, in my opinion. Okay, things are going on this morning. We do have Nike reporting. So keep that on your watch. I think it's this evening. It has gotten completely and totally decimated. Remember, their price on earnings was way up here at $100. We're trading for almost about 40% less. We've got a 40% discount between last earnings and now. So this is one of the bellwethers of retail. So is it justified? I don't know. I mean, just something to keep in mind going forward here. Look at where it is relative to where it was, and do we want to actually continue adding puts at these valuations? I just don't know. I mean, something to keep and watch going out. We got Nike, and this is a market moving event. If Nike comes out with better than expected results, that is going to sound an all clear for the bulls or for the bears to start covering their shorts. So I'm thinking there's going to be a lot of fear. If you're going into these numbers after having such a massive sell off here, I would think the shorts are going to start covering here in relatively short order. Before they don't want to have exposure into that type of risk into the overnight session, in my opinion. Procter and Gamble, I tried all day yesterday to try to get this thing, could never get filled. The implied volatilities are so high on these options all options in general. If you cannot get it, if you're trying to build a swing position, you have to get it at a cheap price. And yeah, I just couldn't get filled whatsoever. But they do have an upgrade on this to 130. So nice, and it's got a little pop this morning for that upgrade. And I do think it's going to 52-week highs for Procter and Gamble in relatively short order. Zoom video, I think it's going to make new highs here in not so distant future, new all-time highs, that is. So I'd be over 130. It got an upgrade to 140, and it is catching a bid at 111. So that's one to keep on your watch. IMAX got a downgrade. Wouldn't you know it? With the whole thing going on, who's going to the movies? Delta is catching a downgrade to $57. That's still, when you have downgrades and the price is still well above the current price, that's a recipe for a short squeeze. So even downgrades can cause short squeezes. So keep that in mind. We have wiped out all of these value areas at these price points. So we've already all the way back to 2016. This could squeeze, especially if the government does what they said they're going to do and support these airlines going forward here. Okay, and my favorite upgrade of all day, that's Caterpillar. And like I said, the S&Ps look healthier than the Qs. So this is the area to be watching. Cat and Boeing. Those are the two stocks, in my opinion, are the ones you should be watching best going forward here. I think you're going to get back into the at least back test the $100 area here in relatively short order. That trend line breakdown on these two upgrades, not just one. We had an upgrade yesterday too, and they lowered the price, but it was still an upgrade to buy. 157. So 157 puts it way up here on the one call out, and the other guy was 130 just today. So significant upgrades, in my opinion. A lot of action going on here in Caterpillar. Boeing, I tried to get it yesterday afternoon with the room, and my like I said, you got to try to get your prices relatively cheap here. It's trading at 129. So the pattern, the entire breakout pattern has been resolved. This is a major yearly support area for Boeing down here in this collapse. So keep that in mind going forward in your trading. It's trading at 132. So I don't know if it's going to go anywhere from here, but like I said, that is a yearly support zone for Boeing going forward here. Some of the things I'm looking at here. And then FedEx reports tomorrow. I think that's what it is, large. Or is it tonight? FedEx might report tonight too. I think FedEx reports tonight too. And major support down here. We're trading around. There's a note out saying that the short interest has really dropped in FedEx going into these earnings. So I don't know if you want to be the last person holding short positions going into a major earnings event like FedEx, but that's something to keep in mind. We're coming off of a major support area, and we already know that Amazon's hiring more people just for the delivery because they need more people to or for home delivery with the whole coronavirus fear thing. And Pepsi got an upgrade along with Procter and Gamble. Everybody's buying stuff at home, so Pepsi's likely to be back up to all 52-week highs here in relatively short order, in my opinion. Uber is going to suspend all shared rides. That doesn't mean they're wiping their cars down like they're supposed to, but that's something that might support their price. Not having some stranger sitting in the car with you, that could be supportive. Uber is really taking it on the chin under this whole coronavirus thing. Fears that people aren't going to use our services. JD is one of my favorite darlings in the markets right now. I think it's going to. They have an outperform on it. I think the Chinese internet names are probably going to be one of the leaders out of this mess. So keep that in mind going forward here. It is trading at $37 right now, so it does have a nice little bid under it so far this morning. It's one of the volume leaders. Home Depot. It adjusted their fourth quarter guidance this morning, raised their dividend, raised their buyback. Really nice bid this morning, up over. Now it was up higher than that earlier, but it's up over $3 on Home Depot. That puts it at 167. That still puts us right down here near these swing lows, and that this primary trend here, I would think the 185 area back test is probably where Home Depot is going to be heading in not so distant future, especially if we start seeing a major short squeeze in this market. See, anything else I want to talk about? Oh, Goose is closing all their stores until the end of the month. So keep that in mind. That's a major retailer in Canada. Okay. Square got upgraded to outperform, $70. That's a nice little uptick if these financials were to happen to finally catch a bid. What happened yesterday with or over the weekend going down to zero interest rates. It just utterly destroyed the financial industry, and it just gutted them. And I just don't know if we can get any type of major bids and financials until um, you know until they finally start raising those rates again, because they just gutted out a major source of their revenue stream. And it's to the point now they got the interest rates so low that you're going to have to literally have physical assets to back any loans, and these regional banks are just simply are not going to be able to write these loans unless they have substantial equity um, backing. You know, the whole 20% down thing. Well, I think at 0% interest rates, they're going to need a lot more than that, more like 50% down to qualify for these loans. And it's pretty much shut the first time home buyers completely out of mortgage refinancing at this point, unfortunately, but that's just the way it is. Okay. And Electronic Arts also caught an upgrade. And of course, people are sitting at home, so they're thinking, hey, people are going to start buying these games, you know, and something to keep in mind going forward here that Electronic Arts, we're at $90 here. So it is a broken pattern, but they do have an upgrade this morning. So keep that in mind and uh, going forward in your trading. Okay. This is just some of the things that I'm seeing this morning. We are due for a short squeeze, but my main concern here is the Qs really do look like they're trying to mark lower prices here. And what I'm looking at here on my Apple, if I zoom it here, there is a gap right down here. I think Apple's coming down and at the very least touching the top of the gap, which we've missed it so far. So that's something I've got on watch here going forward into today's session. I think Apple is going right now. We're gapping up. It's the 247.30 area. We are above the closing price, but I think Apple's going to have a lot of problems. So that's the one canary in the coal mine, so to speak, that I'm kind of concerned about Apple here. We are the volume, you know, we are outside of value from yesterday, okay, and we are pushing at the lows of the overnight inventory as well. So suggesting some relative weakness in Apple until we finally come down here, wash out to the 232 area. If we do something like that, that's going to put Dow negative 1,000 plus again if we were to have some sort of washout like that on Apple going into today's session. But that's the ultimate target, I would think. If we got to that, that would be a firm bottom in the markets. That's why I'm leery of adding a lot of longs into these earnings events until we can actually get a solid back test for Apple. So just something to keep in mind going forward in today's session. I'm going to be really careful on my tradings, and good luck. And leave comments. Like it if you like it. Please leave some comments and stuff. And I appreciate all your guys' feedback. Okay, thanks a lot.